So, good day. I am Angelo Palparato, third year of Computer Engineering in Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Santa Maria Campus. And I am here right now to explain my answer for the case number 2 and number 3. But before we proceed to the case, let us first explain what is all about Republic Act 4200 or Anti-Wiretapping Law. So, Philippine law that prohibits the unauthorized interception of communication. Under Republic Act 4200, it is illegal to intercept any communication, whether oral or written. Use or divulge contents of any intercepted communication without the consent of all parties. So, sa madaling salita, hindi ka pwede na basta makinig ng usapan ng iba, hindi pwede na itatap mo yung communication ng mga nag-uusap sa call. And then, second is, hindi ka pwedeng basta-basta mag-record ng walang approval ng kausap mo. And then, now, let's proceed sa case number 2. And, okay? So now, what is the case 2 all about? So, on May 2, 1990, Mr. Rafael S. Ortanes filed an annulment to her wife, Mrs. Teresita Salcedo Ortanes, due to the grounds of lack of marriage license and or psychological incapacity, and Mr. Ortanes provided a cassette tapes with a record of Ms. Ortanes talking to an unidentified person as an evidence, but Mrs. Ortanes appealed that the said evidence must inadmissible because it violates the Republic Act 4200 or the Anti-Wiretapping Law and violates the privacy of communication. But the judges in the regional trial court still accept the evidence, so she passed an appeal. So basically, may mag-asawa na Ortanes and nag-file ng annulment yung lalaki na pakikipaghiwalay doon sa kanyang misis, and nagpasa siya ng ebidensya which is ni-record niya yung pag-uusap ng kanyang asawa at sa unidentified na kausap nito. Nagpatulong siya sa kaibigan niyang military, and then nung pinasa niya na yon sa judges, tinanggap yun ng judges, and then nagpasa ng appeal yung kanyang asawa na si Mrs. Ortanes, and then yun. Question number 2, what are the facts of the case? So, Mr. Ortanes filed an annulment with their wife and provide a cassette tape as an evidence which he was stopped the communication of her wife with an identified person. Grounds for annulment included lack of marriage license or psychological incapacity of Mrs. Ortanes. Mrs. Ortanes appealed the use of the cassette tape since it violates the Republic Act 4200. So unang facts natin is nag-file nga ng annulment si Mr. Ortanes. Tapos nagpasa siya ng cassette tape na tinap nila yung communication niya. And then, grounds for annulment include lack of marriage. So, sinabi niya dito yung dahilan kung bakit siya nakikipaghiwalay sa kanyang asawa. And then, Mr. Ortanes appeal cassette tape. So, hindi pwedeng gamitin yung cassette tape na ebidensya since na binayolate nung cassette tape na yon yung Republic Act 4200 na hindi ka pwedeng mag-intercept ng communication ng ibang tao because nilalagpasan mo yung privacy ng kanilang communication. For the question number 3, what are the issues on the case? So, Mr. Ortanes uses an evidence that violates the privacy of communication. So, Mrs. Ortanes appealed that it must not admissible. So, nagpasa nga ng ebidensya si Mr. Ortanes na akala niya na makakatulong yan bilang ebidensya, pero nag-appeal si Mrs. Ortanes dahil alam niya nga yung tungkol sa Republic Act 4200 na violate ng cassette tape na yon yung anti-wiretapping law. What is the ruling of the Supreme Court? So, the Supreme Court considered the evidence of Mr. Ortanes' cassette tape as illegal since it violates the Republic Act 4200 and declared the said evidence as inadmissible. So, ang nangyari kasi is, sa unang judges, sa lower court, gumana yung evidence na cassette tape. But then, di ba nag-appeal nga si Mrs. Ortanes. So, anong nangyari? Nung nakarating sa Supreme Court, yung apela niya is that sinabi nga ng Supreme Court na nag-violate nga sa Republic Act 4200 yung cassette tape. So, hindi na tinanggap yung ebidensya na yon. Na, question number 5, how will this case relate to our course discussion on RA4200? Republic Act 4200 is a wiretapping law and a privacy law, which is prohibited if it is unauthorized. It can be used as evidence unless the two party inside the conversation agreed, or if it is rebellion, but since it is not, the said evidence is inadmissible and the person who did this can be penalized. So, connected yung case na yon sa pinag-aaralan po namin na RA4200 na hindi ka pwedeng basta-basta na mag-record ay na mag-tap ng communication or mag-intercept ng communication unless na pumayag yung both parties, yung dalawang nag-uusap na gagamitin mo yun as evidence. Pero since na hindi pumayag at hindi rin tungkol sa rebellion yung pinag-uusapan nila, is hindi pwedeng gamitin yung ginamit na pagtatap ng communication na yun. So now let's proceed to case number 3. So question number 1, what is the case all about? On September 28, 1995, Miss Socorro Ramirez filed a civil case to Miss Esther Garcia for humiliating her, and she provided the evidence that she secretly recorded their conversation. But Miss Garcia is knowledgeable enough and know about the RA4200, so she decided to also file Miss Ramirez a criminal case since she violated the RA4200. So, si Miss Socorro Ramirez ay nag-file ng civil case dahil pinapahiya umano siya ni Miss Esther Garcia. So, dahil may reklamo siya, so nag-provide siya ng ni-record niyang pag-uusap nilang dalawa, which is yung pamamahiya nga ni Miss Esther Garcia na kanya nire-reklamo. But then, alam ni Miss Esther Garcia yung tungkol sa Republic Act 4200 na hindi ka pwedeng gumamit ng ebidensya ng pag-uusap ninyong dalawa kung hindi authorized na pumayag na i-record yung pag-uusap na yon. So, ano kasi yon, tawag dito, nag-violate ka ng privacy ng communication. So, nagreklamo siya ng mas mataas criminal case yung kanyang pinasa. Yung nagreklamo is civil case lang, and pinasa niya criminal case. So, parang mas lugi pa yung unang nagreklamo. Question number 2, what are the facts of the case? So, Miss Ramirez being humiliated by Miss Garcia, so she filed a civil case for Miss Garcia. Miss Ramirez provided her secretly recorded conversation with Miss Garcia. Miss Garcia knows about RA4200, so she filed criminal case for Miss Ramirez for violating the wiretapping and privacy law. So, ayun nga, tulad ng sinabi ko, nagpasa ng reklamo na civil case si Miss Ramirez, and then civil case lang yung pinasa niya, and then si Miss Ramirez then is siya yung nag-provide ng record na secret to niyang ni-record. And then yung pangatlong facts is knows about alam ni Miss Garcia yung Republic Act 4200, so nagbalik siya ng kaso na civil case pa, ay criminal case pa, so mas mataas na kaso po yun. So question number 3, what are the issues on the case? So does Miss Ramirez actually violates the RA4200 by secretly recording her conversation with Miss Garcia? So binviolate ba talaga ni Miss Garcia yung RA4200 dahil sa sekreto niyang pagre-record or unauthorized recording the conversation? Does Miss Ramirez action of unauthorized recording of their private conversation with Miss Garcia is sufficient constitute an offense? So, offense daw ba talaga na ni-record mo ng privately yung pag-uusap ninyong dalawa, and despite na humiliate ka niya or pinapahiya, hindi ka pa rin kasi pwedeng basta-basta mag-record ng unauthorized na kausap mo. Question number 4, what is the ruling of the Supreme Court? So, Ms. Ramirez petition was denied. It considered as offense by doing an authorized recording of private conversation Therefore, the trial court petition been denied. So, hindi tinanggap yung reklamo niya na civil case sa pag-humiliate sa kanya since na wala siyang ibang ebidensya at siya pa yung nagkaroon ng offense dahil unauthorized yung ginawa niyang pag-record ng pag-uusap nila. So, dininay po yun ng Supreme Court. Question number 5. How will this case relate to our course discussion? RA4200. Even you're the victim, you can't still record the private conversation without permission because they can use your recorded evidence to you. And worse, it's more heavy since it is criminal case. Recording without permission is totally prohibited by the law. So, kahit lugin-lugi ka na, basta hindi ka unauthorized yung pag-record mo at hindi tungkol sa rebellion pinag-uusapan, is hindi ka pwedeng basta-basta mag-record. Dahil magkakaroon ka pa ng criminal case at mas mabigat yon kaysa sa civil case na ipapasa mo. At, ayun, hindi kailangan po na authorize yung pagre-record po natin at hindi tayo basta-basta nagre-record dahil isa tong offense sa law at makakasama tayo ng criminal case. Thank you po. And that's all for my case number 2 and number 3. Thank you for listening. I hope that you understand what I'm saying. Thank you.